and welcome or welcome back. My name is Sophie and this is my channel Studio Sophie. Today is going to be another knitting podcast episode, and yeah, I've got a lot to show you. But before we get into everything, like all the projects and everything, I just wanted to let you know that I was a bit off schedule with the editing process of my last video. Because I was a bit sick, and this is why between the last and then the filming of this episode also was a bit delayed. So between the last episode and this episode passed between 5 weeks, so it's a bit more than usual. I try to film every 4 weeks, and because of the editing delay and everything, this video is going to be up a bit earlier after the last upload, I think. So but the time between the last episode and this one when it was filmed is longer, just so you know. Yeah, but I'm healthy again, and I'm very happy to show you everything I was working on the last 5 weeks, and I actually got a lot of knitting done. I've got 4 finished objects to show you this episode. I've got 2 active works in progress, and I wanted also to show you one that I'm gonna take soon out of hibernation, and before I'm gonna work on it, I wanted to show you the current status of it. And yeah, no acquisitions today. But yeah, a lot of projects to talk about. So let's dive into it, grab something to drink, you're knitting, and yeah, enjoy. All right, so one of the finished objects I'm wearing today, and this is the CloudSweater pullover by Petiteknit. This one was a very spontaneous cast on, because I bought the yarn for another project and I wasn't happy about how the other project was turning out. I talked quite a lot about it in my last episode. And then I saw another YouTuber knitting podcaster work up the CloudSweater in this yarn, and I really liked how it fitted her, and decided to knit it myself. And I am happy about this, so I'm just gonna show you how this one looks. So this is how it fits. It's quite an boxy fit, oversized pullover. It's very relaxing fit. So this project is knitted up in 1 strand of Snefnug from CaMaRose, and I don't have any yarn left, so I was playing very hard yarn chicken, and I also unraveled my swatch and used that yarn as well. So no ball left to show you, but I think it's a quite known yarn. It's a blown alpaca cotton merino blend, and the pattern suggests to combine it with a strand of soft silk mohair, but I just knitted it single-stranded with the Snefnug yarn. And I did the swatch and liked how it looked. I liked how the fabric turned out, the density of it and everything. So I didn't see the need to combine it with a mohair. And I didn't want to buy any further yarn for this project, because it was like a very, it's for me more of a home sweater, because also of the fit. So I didn't want to, make it very expensive. I am very happy about the color. It's lybeige. I'm also going to put it in the description below so you can look it up. And I had 5 balls of it, and I ran out of yarn around the first sleeve at this point. And then I went to the yarn store where I bought the first batch of the yarn, and they didn't have that dye-lot anymore, and online it was also sold out. So I just bought the last 2 skeins she had at the store, and it was a bit of a different dye-lot, and there was a significant difference between the look of the yarns. So the one I bought before, it wasn't also quite as fluffy. The color was a bit different, not like in the extreme, but it was noticeable. But I still was like, I'm just going to try and see how it's going to work up on the sleeve. And I don't know if you can see it. I think you can only see that the texture is a bit maybe different. But I think from up from here, maybe you can see it. So this one is, I think the stitches are a little more defined, and this one has a little bit more fluff. And after I finished the sleeve, I blocked it to see how much the sweater is going to grow, if like the fit is going to work out and everything. And I don't know, in my mind, I was like, maybe the yarn is going to blend. Well, it's kind of ridiculous because, of course, it's not going to like change the color. It's not like, yeah, I don't know. I was just like, in my mind, it made sense. It didn't change a lot. I thought maybe the texture is gonna be more even, but still there's like a slight difference. But I don't mind it on the sleeve. But for the body, I didn't want to have like a big cut because I think I knitted in the yarn I had up till here, then half the sleeve. So and one sleeve was finished. Yeah, so I just needed yarn for this part of the sleeve and the bottom part of the body. So I unraveled the part I had and then alternated yarn and knitted down to the lengths I could manage with the 2 more skeins. It is a bit shorter, I think, than the pattern suggests, but it worked out. So yeah, it was a bit stressful, this experience, but I don't like to be left over with scrap yarn or like a ball of one yarn from a project because it just accumulates and I don't know what to do with it. So I do try to buy just enough for a project and not and don't buy more, because usually I also end up with a bit more yarn than is expected from the project. So this time I was like, just gonna see how it's gonna work out. I'm gonna make it work. Yeah, I do like the details on this one. So it's so first about maybe the construction. So it's a top-down construction. You start at the back panel, do some short row shaping for the back, then you knit down. Afterwards you pick up stitches for the front parts. I think the detail is very nice on the shoulder, where you have this purling edge, so I think it gives it a nice structure. Then you knit the front part, you do some short row shaping, you do some increases for the neckline, and then connect the front pieces together and knit it down, and then at some point you connect under the arms. I'm not sure, I think you do very little shaping for the armholes, so it's very like straight knit overall. So afterwards you pick up stitches for the sleeve, and I think you've got this beautiful purled detail here on the side, and like as you can see, it is not the biggest armhole or arm opening, sleeve opening, but I think it's quite good for this construction as you are not doing a lot of shaping in the sleeve. There are some few decreases, but not a ton. It's mostly knitted straight down, and the finishings are done with this 1x1 rib and rolled edge, and I do think it looks very nice. This is what intrigued me with the Cloud series. So you do some, just a few rows of 1x1 rib and then a few rows of stockinette stitch, and it rolls just up a bit. So these finishings are done on the sleeves and also the hem of the body. And then you pick up stitches for the neckline and just knit it straight up, and it's a rolled neckline, so it just rolls down a bit. So it's really nice. Very easy knit, very mindless, I would even say. I think I knitted this on 5mm needle, and the pattern recommends a 4.5, if I'm correct. So although I just knitted it with one strand of the Snefnug and not 2 strands altogether, I still need to go up half a needle size to meet gauge. And I think it would have been quite dense, and I do like that the sweater is a bit more lighter. The only issue for me with this one is the fit of the body part. I think it's very boxy, and At the front, I think it is fine, but it flares out a bit here. You can see it maybe here on the body. And especially like on the back part, I don't like how it, how the creases go down at the shoulder. I think it's a bit too wide for me. I should have maybe knitted a size smaller, and then I wouldn't have also this much problem with the yarn amount. But yeah, I think it's more of like a loungy at home sweater, so just can easily throw it on. I have been wearing it a ton, especially when I was sick. Like, I think I was sick like for 2.5 weeks. It was crazy. And I practically lived in this pullover because it's so cozy and the yarn is so soft. And it held up pretty good, I would say. It's a bit of pilling already happening, but as I said, I was just like wearing it a ton. So yeah, it's holding up good, I would say, for the amount of wear I already got out of it. So yeah, this is the CloudSweater by Petiteknit. Not a lot more to say about it. The pattern was easy to follow, no issues there, and yeah, I liked this one very much to work on. Not the biggest fan of the fit of the width, maybe. Yeah, I think it's more of the sizing issue, and because of the alternating of the yarns, I do have kind of like a seam happening here. So yeah, it's not like the most elevated project I have worked on lately, so but it's fine. So it was easy fun knit. So now on to my next finished object, and this one is also a pattern from Petiteknit, and it's the Zippersweater Light Man for my boyfriend or fiance. Yeah, and I'm very happy how this one turned out. I'm gonna show it to you, and I'm also gonna insert a video of photos of him wearing it. But here you can see how it's looking. Here's the zipper detail, the neck detail, and raglan part. You can see it's the yarn gives a very nice stitch definition. So yeah, I'm very, very happy how this turned out. So it's a top-down construction. You start. So I won't like talk a ton about the construction, but because I think we talked about it quite a lot in the last episodes, but I'm just gonna go quickly through it. So it's a top-down construction. You start with the collar part. It's done with 1x1 rib. It's a folded collar. Because of the zipper slip, you work the majority of the upper part of the sweater back and forth. After you reach the recommended length of the slit for the zipper, you connect in the round. It is a raglan construction, so the increases are done, or the shaping is done raglan wise. At a certain point, you put the stitches for the sleeves on hold and work the body down. It's worked straight down. You don't do any shaping here, so it's plain stockinette. The finishing at the hem is done with 1x1 rib and an Italian bind off. I did do the hem a bit shorter than the pattern recommended because I like the optics of it more, and I already like reached a certain length with the stockinette part, and yeah, the measurements I took from my boyfriend worked better with a bit shorter rib part. Then I knitted the sleeves with some decreases, and the finishings are also done with 1x1 rib and an Italian bind off. And yeah, and at the end you install the zipper. It was a bit fiddly, so before I installed the zipper, I did block it and tried to even out the how you say, the lining inside and also like the front part, so I can evenly do it and there's no pull on the fabric. But I think overall it worked out very nice. I can show you how it's looking. So I think it's quite neat, and this is the inside. I think it does look very good. I can show you here. It was a bit fiddly. I first thought I would do it with a sewing machine, but I think it would get stuck every once in a while, so I hand sew it afterwards, after all. But I think the zipper is a bit too long because it bunches up a bit when it's worn. So I think I need to take out the lower part and shorten the zipper a bit, so there is no like bunching up of the material and it falls a bit smoother. My boyfriend is very, very happy about this pullover. The fit is great on him. It worked out as I intended. This is worked in size 2, and it's a bit tighter fitted than the pattern recommends, but I think it worked out very nice. And the yarn I chose for this is a combination, or like I held 2 strands together. One strand of Laine Novita. This is a light decay yarn. I also showed it quite a lot in the last podcasts. And I held it together one strand of Alpaca 1. This is a lace weight yarn to meet gauge, because the pattern suggests to work this pullover up in Petiteknit. This is a more expensive version. It's a more deluxe. It's like very, very nice to work up, and also the Laine Novita decay yarn is it's great. It's a combination of 3 different sheep breeds. So it's Falkland wool, blue-faced Leicester, and blue-faced Kerry Hill, but the most part is the Falkland wool. And yeah, I'm interested to see how this is gonna hold up, but I think it's gonna last him for a long time. The zipper, I was debating last time whether I should buy one from Petiteknit, but I wanted, like, I pictured it with a black yarn, a very like clean and metallic looking silver looking zipper would look good, and it's just one I bought at a fabric store here in Düsseldorf. It wasn't very expensive, and I think it's a very like common zipper brand for Germany. I don't know. It's called Riri. I'm gonna put it also down. Overall, I'm very happy about this project and very happy to have finished this gift knit. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about a smaller project I showed you. I already showed you last time, and this is the scarf number 5. I'm gonna put, I think, the picture here of the pattern, and it's a pattern from My Favorite Things Knitwear, and it was also quite a spontaneous cast on, because I bought the Boucle yarn to combine with the Snefnug yarn for a scarf project, but I didn't like how the fabric turned out, so I wanted to use those yarns separately. I do have a lot of yarn from the Boucle still left, and I don't really know at this point how I'm going to use it up, but I think I'm going to find a good way. It's the Eco Boucle. It's 100% alpaca, 50 grams for 175 meters, and yeah, from Isager. And I've got, I think, 2 or 3 balls left, and I used 1 ball for the scarf. And yeah, this is how the scarf turned out. I am very happy about it. So I thought it would be a great idea to do this, the main part in the Boucle yarn, and do the contrast color in some cashmere I had left from Cardif. So it's Cardif, classic cashmere from Cardif Cashmere. This is the color. I don't have the label anymore, so I can't tell you which color it is. I'm very sorry, but this is how it's looking, and this is the Boucle yarn. I'm going to put the color lot also in the description below. And I really like the color combination of these two, and I think it works very nice in this scarf. So you have this very like fluffy, squishy boucle part, and then the nice contrast color edging. And the scarf is worked up like from inside to outside, so you pick up stitches in the middle and then work increases in the middle and on the outside, and have some edge stitches. Yeah, very easy project. I very much liked it, and I have been wearing this a ton. For me, the boucle is not scratchy, so I can easily wear skin to skin. And I can show you. I think it's going to be a bit more difficult with the microphone, but let's try it. I'm sorry, it's going to be a bit loud. So yeah, I've been wearing it like this a lot. So just like once closed, a bit to the side, and yeah, I think it's very nice. Yeah, there isn't a lot to say about it actually. It's, as I said, straightforward. The pattern is written very clearly. You do get 3 different size options to knit this pattern up. So there's a bandana version, a scarf version, and a shawl version, all in one. The only change is a bit how the increase rate is and where you increase. And I chose the scarf size. I've been getting a lot of wear out of it, especially because it became quite springy here in Germany quite quickly. So it's perfect for this transitional season. Okay, so this was scarf number 5. And now on to my last finished object. This is like, I'm a bit surprised how much I got done, but I also had like an online seminar where I could knit quite a lot in the week. And because I was sick, I also didn't like do a lot of other things, but stayed home a lot also. So I had quite a lot of knitting time, or made time for a lot of knitting. So this is why there are so many finished objects. And yeah, I was quite far on this one and the sweater for my boyfriend the last time. So yeah. Okay, so now on to, other side's better. So now on to my last finished object. And I haven't shown you this project before because I casted it on after the last episode and Jenny just flew off my needles. And this is the LateCheckoutSweater by Kutova Kika. This is the sweater, and I'm also gonna insert a video of me wearing it so you can see it. Here are some details, how it's looking. Yeah, so this is the LateCheckoutSweater. I'm also gonna put a video here of me wearing it. I'm just gonna scoop over so you can see it. So this project was a very spontaneous one because the yarn I chose for this, or a part of the yarn, I had in stash, and I had it in stash for at least over a year, so for a very long time, and at least for me. And I never knew what to knit up with it because initially I bought this yarn to knit up the mesh sweater by Polar Strict. I really like the look of it. It's a very open. It's a very like how to describe it. It's a very like this mesh look. So I wasn't thinking really thinking if it would. If this garment would make sense to me. I just liked the look of it, and I was quite at the beginning of my knitting journey, or like in the first parts, and I thought it would be nice like summer knit. I bought the Como Grande from Lamana, and the yarn is beautiful. It is I don't have anything left because I used everything up for this pullover, but it's merino superfine 100% wool yarn, and it's 50 grams, 120 meters for 50 grams. So it is a thick decay, I would say, and it does bloom a lot. So it is more on the even worsted side weight. And because of the pattern, I didn't have enough to knit a stockinette full garment out of it, just because like the amount you need for this mesh look of the garment is, you needed less yarn as you would need for a whole sweater pullover quantity for a lot of different other patterns. And because I thought this was straight decay also, I didn't look for patterns in a worsted weight yarn for this amount of yarn. So yeah, it was just laying around. I didn't know what to do with it, how to combine it, and I only had like a single strand of it. And I also didn't want to knit the pattern after I knitted the Lanta bag from her. I have it here. So this is like the same stitch pattern, and this is like this meshy look. And I do think it looks great. I think it's very nice. It is a very nice like stitch thing, stitch pattern. But I really had trouble to continue the stitch pattern in the round. So this bag, I knitted it easily. I started it 4 to 5 times because I just couldn't get the transition right, because you need to put one stitch to the other on the other needle, and then I don't know. I never understood how it's supposed to be. And you can see it here that the transition part, there are just like some mistakes. Yeah, it's not bad, but they're just like, it's not very clean. And I thought, when I'm already having so much trouble for just like going in the round, how is it supposed to work out with shaping and everything? So after knitting this bag, I was like, I'm definitely not gonna knit up this pullover. This is never gonna happen. So yeah, that is why I was left with this yarn, and I didn't know what to do with it. Saw on the channel of Tall Tale Makes that she made some light checkout sweaters from Kutova Kika, and I really liked how the projects looked for her. And because there's like a whole tutorial for the sweater, that's like a whole YouTube tutorial how to knit the sweater. It is very beginner friendly. It's supposed to be very beginner friendly. I also recommended my sister to knit up this sweater. So she was knitting it up as her first pullover project. And when I looked over the pattern, I was like, the yarn could work for it, because you can, like, there are also very different yarn suggestions, but the stitch gauge was working out, and I wanted to combine it with mohair. So I went and bought some mohair for this, for the Como Grande from Lamana, and combined it. And I think the colors matched very well. And I knitted up this beautiful sweater with those 2 yarns. And it was like one of the only patterns I found where I had enough of the Lamana Como Grande to work up a whole sweater, because I didn't want to do a vest, because I don't really wear them a lot, and then I would have been left, like would have had leftovers. And I couldn't like also purchase more of the yarn because the dye lot wasn't available anymore. So yeah, this was the whole struggle. And then I thought in this pattern, okay, it should work out with the yarn quantities that were needed for this pattern. And I had enough, at least the meterage. So yeah, I started working on this, and I picked up for the 3rd size, because I thought, okay, it should work out. I don't want to be left with any yarn of this. I want to work it all up, and I want a slouchy big sweater. And I first knitted it on 5mm needles, because this is how I had gauge. But then I realized that it would become way too dense, because the Como Grande yarn isn't just decay. It's, as I said, more of a worsted weight yarn, and especially combined with the mohair, it was just not working out at all. So I like already knitted the whole back piece, and then I had to unravel it, and then I picked up the project again on 5.5 millimeter needles. And I really do like how the fabric looks on this gauge. It looks very good for this combination. So it is very like still drapey, but very soft and very warm, and I think it looks very good. But with the thicker needle, I had a slightly bigger gauge. So I decided to go down a size and knit it in a bigger gauge. And I reckoned, okay, it should be fine also with the yarn amount I have. And with the bigger, like with the smaller gauge and the bigger size, what should have worked out, because I was on gauge and I had enough yarn according to pattern, I realized that it's not gonna be enough. So I don't really understand how she calculated the yarnage or the meterage for that sweater, because even with me knitting on bigger needles, the smaller size, so this way I was already using a bit less yarn, I still had trouble finishing this project, and I had to unravel my swatch, I had to undo one sleeve, and it was kind of a hustle, and I was a bit surprised because yeah, it like now the project, it fits and it looks good, but it is a bit shorter than I would like she recommended in her pattern, and it doesn't have as much positive ease. So I don't know what's up with that. I didn't see any other people having problem with it. So the construction is quite interesting. I really like this back panel part. So you pick up stitches for the neckline, and then you have quite a quick increase rate and work the back panel down. Here I had some troubles with the pattern. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just like not her writing style is not really for me, or I don't know. It was one of the first times I really had trouble understanding the pattern and getting along with it. And I was very surprised, as I said, because it is promoted to be like a beginner-friendly pattern. Maybe I wasn't in the best headspace when I started working on it because I was sick. Maybe this was an issue, but I would have loved for her to clearly write down the pickup rate. So you pick up stitches for every stitch when you start the front part. This was not stated in the pattern, and she says that you need to pick up stitches till the marker you placed, but it doesn't say when you have to place the marker. So this was also a bit of an issue, because then it worked out, but still it's difficult regarding which way you pick up to know where to start or where to end. So this was a bit confusing, but after finishing the back panel and picking up stitches for the front parts, it went very easy. So afterwards there weren't any issues. The pattern is very straightforward afterwards, so you don't really do a lot of shaping. You knit the front pieces, connect them, and then you knit down a bit and then connect in the round and just knit the body down. There isn't any shaping done. You do have to decrease some stitches to get the right stitch amount for the 2x2 rib for the hem. She does recommend, I think, doing a tubular cast off, but I don't like how it looks when you rearrange the stitches at the end of a 2x2 rib, so I just did a regular cast off. I haven't blocked it after casting it off because I needed to unravel some parts, and so it does look a bit wonky, so I did need to give it a steam block, but this is how it looks. I think it will even out a bit when I reblock this part. And then you do pick up stitches for the sleeve, so it is kind of a drop shoulder construction, and knit the sleeve down. You don't do any shaping with the sleeve, so it's straightforward, very easy in the round. And you also do a 2x2 rib for the cuff. This is not blocked at all, so it's quite cinched in. Yeah, because after I knitted the front part, the back part, and part of the body, or I finished the body even, I knitted one sleeve, and then I knitted the other sleeve. And then I realized I was like this amount short of yarn. So I was like, I knitted up till here, and then I had no yarn left. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna block this project and see how the finished, like how much it's gonna grow, and then I'm gonna look if I can like shorten the other sleeve a bit and take some yarn from there, or if I can shorten the body. So it turned out that the first sleeve did grow quite a lot in length, so I could take out a few centimeters and had enough yarn to finish the other sleeve. And I didn't have to shorten the body because it is also a bit cropped already. So I was very happy that I didn't need to go back and take some yarn from the hem. But yeah, very very intense also yarn chicken game. And the collar I already did before I finished the body to see how the fit is going to be, because it is very wide when you don't have the collar, and the collar really gets the pullover into place. So the collar is also done with a 2x2 rib, and you just fold it over. I think she recommends doing it after you finish the body and then afterwards working the sleeve. I think I did it mid-body when I ran, like when one ball finished, and I had to switch anyways. So this is where I first did the collar. Yeah, so I'm very happy about the finished object and the yarn combination. It's very soft, very drapey, very warm. But my notes from this project are that you need to calculate more yarn. Then the second thing is be a bit mindful about the back panel part, and maybe I didn't read it right, I don't know. But you do pick up stitches for every row, and there are supposed to be placed markers after the after the increase rate for the back panel. So keep that in mind. And for the yarn, for the Lamana Como Grande, although like the meterage regarding the weight would work, would be, in my opinion, or I would think it would be a DK weight, but it is more of a worsted weight. So this was the Late Checkout Sweater by Kutova Kika. As I said, I need to give it a nice steam block to make the cuffs a bit more neater looking, and also the hem. I don't want to wash it again or wet block it again because it did take a lot of time to dry. Yeah, so I'm very happy to start wearing it. And yeah, those were all my finished objects. Now I'm gonna check the camera. I think it has enough batteries. So now on to my works in progress. So I'm gonna start with a small project, and this is a sock project. So I'm knitting up socks in this beautiful electric blue yarn. And it's the Arwetta from Filcolana sock wool. It's 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. This is the yarn. This is this beautiful bright blue. And I really wanted to try this yarn because I've knitted only with long yarns, sock yarn before. I'm very, very happy about the color. And also the yarn itself, it works out very nice. I think it's a bit more, a bit thinner than the long yarns sock wool. because I'm knitting on the same needle size as I usually knit socks, so it's a 2.5mm needle, but I think the gauge is a bit smaller than I would get with the Lang Yarns wool. So the last pair of socks I knitted were the ruffle socks by Petiteknit, and I really did like the ruffle detail. And before knitting the socks, I did some research on Ravelry because I wanted to knit a ruffle sock, but I wasn't sure which pattern I wanted to use. And I also saw a pattern from Purl Soho, and I liked how it looked, but I did like more the ruffle socks from Petiteknit for the red color I had. But I wanted to knit those ruffle socks from Purl Soho as well, but in the blue color. And I thought at this point I do have some sock patterns, and I didn't want to buy a new sock pattern just to know how to knit the upper part, because like the heel, I would do a heel flap and gasset this time, I think. And otherwise I have enough, like, as I said, sock patterns where I can just adjust the stitch gauge and everything I want. So I didn't feel like buying the yarn, the pattern for, I think it's $11 or something. And I think it is quite expensive for a quite plain sock pattern, in my opinion. That's why I just winged it and thought, okay, I'm just gonna take the stitch count from the ruffle sock pattern from Petiteknit and just do a combination of what I see in the picture and what I think is gonna work out. So the upper part, I did this ruffle detail and then I just did a 2x2 rib. In hindsight, I should have done a 3x1 rib. I think it would have looked better with a ruffle detail, but I still think it looks pretty. And with socks, I'm not very particular, so I'm not gonna unravel this just to change the ribbing detail. Still like it. This is how it's gonna like then looked a bit stretched on the feet, and I think it looks very cute. So I just stopped at the point where I need to work the heel, and especially with socks, it just takes me always a bit more time to like get over to do the next step. With the heel, I do need to concentrate a bit more, and afterwards it's like, or again, like very smooth, like in the round knitting and very easy. So yeah, I thought I'm just gonna do a heel flap and gasset because it's yeah, way more sturdier to wear in shoes. I'm a bit sad I didn't do it for the ruffle socks because they're already like a bit the heel is already but like a bit roughed up or thinned at the back part, because I've been wearing them also in shoes. Those are my socks. Nice project to work on the go and just to take with me, and I love the color electric blue. As you can maybe tell, I've got a blue phone, a blue lamp, the table parts. I love the color, so I'm very excited to finish those socks. Now on to my next work in progress, and I did show the yarn that I bought for it in my last video, so it was in the acquisitions part. And this is the yarn I'm working up my next project. So I'm knitting the CerataCardigan by Joan Knit. And this is how far I've come, and I'm absolutely loving how this is turning out. So last time I talked about the yarn, and you may be surprised that those yarns don't look very similar on the first glance. So I really wanted to work with the Filcolana Peruvian Highland Wool yarn, and I found this beautiful color called Lilac Fog, and I really could picture it in my wardrobe, especially like with my white t-shirts, gray, but also black. I think it's a nice color to go with plain colors, and I think it's also a nice color like to go into spring. But there isn't any mohair that goes with this, and I really wanted to try the Tilia from Filcolana, but they didn't have the right colorway. I purchased some mohair that didn't go with it. It was way too light also for this combination. And then I went to the yarn store and asked it's one I really like in Düsseldorf. I'm also going to put the link to the yarn store in the information below. So if you're ever going to be in Düsseldorf, definitely check that yarn store out. It's great. It's got a very great yarn selection, and the store owner gives really helpful tips. And she suggested to use this mohair to go with it, and I think it works very well, because if you can see, the strand of the silk inside of this corresponds with the lilac fog color here. So you can really nice, like, it works very nice, and the halo gives like the this pattern a nice depth. So the issue with the lighter mohair was that it was just like very mild and washed out this waffle effect. And with the darker yarn, I think it works really, really great. So this is how it's looking. And this is basically a broken rib, but it looks so dimensional. I really, really like it. And it does, of course, make the lilac fog a bit darker than it looks without the mohair. But I don't think it changes the color like drastically. And I do think you don't see like the strand of the mohair, but just the darker fluff that, yeah, works very nice with this waffle pattern. About the construction, it's a drop shoulder construction. I've never knitted any patterns of Joan knits, but I do have to say the pattern design is amazing. So it's so nicely done. It is planned to be used only digitally because how she designed and everything. But there are always boxes to tick off where you are just at, and with the increasing or decreasing rates and everything, she does do it for each size also. So you can just like go through your part of the pattern where you work up your size, and then after the shaping you go to the main part again, but you don't have like to go always look, how many stitches do I have to work up and everything. So yeah, I really do like how the pattern is written up, and she does give a lot of helpful tips, especially also how to take your measurements or what to take into account. And up like till now, I had no issues whatsoever with this pattern. I really like working on it, and I think I'm not like at the point where I do all like the details, but I'm really curious to see how how to work up those different like seam edges and everything, which are seen on the photos of the finished object in her pattern photos. So yeah, it's you start with a back piece and do like knit back and forth and broken rib. And after you work like the back panel, you do some armhole shaping, and then you pick up stitches for the front part and also work it in broken rib. And you do also the increases for the V shape and the armhole shaping here, and also under the arm the pattern in the broken rib continues then. Yeah, now I just have to work the body down in broken rib, so there's no more shaping at this point. She does instruct you to put in some stitch markers to know where to, like later, how to calculate where you put the buttonholes when you do the double knitted button band. Yeah, so I'm really loving this project. I'm really loving how it's turning out. I love the yarn combination. It was a very good recommendation in the store, and I really do like how it feels. It does look a bit small right now, but it is because of this textured pattern, and I think it's gonna grow and flow out nicely. Now on to my hibernation project, which I want to start working on again. Let me get it. So this is the Emery Vest, and this is an all over cable project, and this is this this beautiful vest with those, this beautiful cable project. I absolutely love this. I just didn't have like the energy to work on it in this winter and wanted to work on other pieces. And I just need to get back into the headspace to work up this beautiful, beautiful pattern. So how did I find this pattern? So I had some yarn that I bought. It was on sale. It was from a yarn store in Bremen. And this was woolstock worsted blue sky fibers in the colorway driftwood. This is like the caked up yarn. And she only had like 3 of those hangs left. And I really wanted to try this yarn because I couldn't find it in any other online shops and everything. And I wanted to knit something up in it. So I bought it, and it wouldn't have been enough for a whole pullover sweater project, but it should be it is enough for a vest. But I didn't want to just knit a plain vest. I wanted to do especially because it's light yarn, I wanted to do a textured knit. And yeah, I went on Ravelry and searched for different structured patterns, cable patterns for vest, and I stumbled onto this pattern from Joji Locatelli. I hope I pronounced this name right. She does have a vest version and a pullover version in the same pattern, so she gives instructions then how to work up the sleeves. It looks quite small at this point. She, like in her pattern, it is a more tight-fitted vest. I didn't want that to be as tight-fitted as it is, like as it looks or how the measurements are given in the pattern. So I'm knitting this up in size 5. So I think L or XL. Yeah. And the finished measurements of this garment when hitting gauge should be that it's giving me like 10 to 20 centimeters positive ease, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is really gonna work out because it does look very small right now. But I thought that maybe I should give it a mid-project block at this point and see how it's going to grow, and if I should continue in this size or if I do need to change anything. But yeah, we'll have to see. So this pullover or this vest is worked up from the top down. So you start with the back panel and then you first knit it back and forth. You do have a lot of charts, so you can work it up just with the charts, and I think you can follow them very good. It is like divided, like you have sections for the different sizes, so you don't have to read, like you don't have to search for your size in each like line, but it's like on, like you have blocks with your size or the size you choose to knit. So I think this is very good, and the pattern overall is good and easy to follow. So you start with the back part, you do some increases for the shoulders or some shoulder shaping, and then you basically just knit it down in pattern. It's got this beautiful midsection part with these patterns, and then those smaller cables, some twisted stockinette part, and then those diamond-shaped ones, and also this edge cable. I think this looks also so beautiful. Under the arms, you have seed stitch pattern. So yeah, I really love how this is turning out. And you do some armhole shaping when you're at the like certain length, and then you pick up stitches for the front. The transition isn't like the absolute best for this part, but I think it's fine. And then you do some neck shaping and also knit this part down. I really want to get back into it and finish this garment because it's been in hibernation for nearly a year now. So yeah, this is the Emery West by Joji Locatelli. Really liking it, and I hope I'm gonna have enough yarn, but I do think so. I still have like this part left. This is attached to the project, and then this whole ball, I think it should be just enough to do the finishings and the whole body. So yeah, this is my last project I'm going to talk about today. I'm really looking forward to working on it, but as I said, I just wanted to give you a status quo on this one, and then we can see how it's going to progress. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and it wasn't, as I said, too fast. If I missed anything or you have any questions, please leave a comment below. And yeah, thanks for everybody who watches, who comes back, who subscribed, who comments, who likes. I really appreciate it, and you're engaging with you, and you're gonna come back and watch, and I'm gonna stop now. So happy knitting, bye bye.